Hey guys, welcome to Arsenal Fan TV, and I think it pretty much goes without saying that following the North London derby, that's not quite the result we wanted to be coming away with. A 1-1 draw at home to Spurs. You know, this is a good Spurs team. I think you'd have to have a very naive opinion to say that Spurs aren't a good side and they're not going to be top four challengers this season. They've got a very good squad under Pochettino. Very good depth within their team is something that I'm noticing. And they seem to be working well as a unit with the likes of Harry Kane in form. They've got Lamela, who's starting to come into a bit of form now. As well as that, they've got a very robust midfield and arguably one of the strongest defences in the league. So this was never going to be the easy game that I think so many were anticipating it would be. As well as that, they have only lost one game in the league this season. That was on the opening day away from home at United. So Spurs are definitely in the balance, and especially with Chelsea on the horrendous run of form they are, they're really going to believe that they can get a top four spot, and if they continue to play in the manner that they are, then they can comfortably do that. It's a good Spurs team we came up against today, and 1-1 in the grand scheme of things, given that they beat City by 4-0 not so long ago, isn't a disastrous result. And let's not forget we had about 10 players injured today, and also given the fact that Spurs dominated us for a good spell of this game, 1-1 isn't a poor result in my opinion, and it's not the result we wanted. I would have much preferred winning this game, and we did have chances to do it. Olivier Giroud missed a good number of opportunities to give us the win in this game, but unfortunately we weren't able to come away with it, and reluctantly I will take a draw, which still leaves us in a good position. Thankfully City couldn't get a win at Aston Villa. We go to Villa in a couple of weeks, so we've got to make sure we win there and capitalise on City's misfortune, which is something that we should have been doing today. But given that they did only get the draw, we still remain in second place, 2 points ahead of United, a point above Leicester. I don't know how much you want to regard them, but it's a good position that we're in heading into the international break. And hopefully, after the international break, a few of our players like Bellerin, Chamberlain, etc., who are so influential to our play, hopefully they'll come back into the squad and we can really pick up where we left off a couple of weeks ago when we were in such a vain run of form. I really do hope we continue that against the likes of West Brom, Sunderland, etc. And talking about those games, we've got some very winnable fixtures coming up, and after those winnable fixtures, it's a huge game against Manchester City, which will really sway the balance in terms of the title march. So hopefully we can win the games we've got. We've got about 4 fixtures coming up against the likes of Norwich, Sunderland, West Brom and Villa. So if we can get 4 wins out of 4 there and take the game to City in December, then it really does look exciting heading into the new year. So this result doesn't mean the end of the world to us, but it's disappointing not to win the derby given how things went last season, drawing 1-1 at home, yet again losing 2-1 away from home thanks to 2 Harry Kane goals. It would have been nice to have won the North London derby. But let's take a look at the game itself. We started with Mathieu Debuchy on that right hand side, and pretty much it was an unchanged lineup from the one that got hammered 5-1 by Bayern Munich. The only real change being Laurent Koscielny coming in for Gabriel Paulista, and I'm surprised that we didn't see Koscielny line up alongside Gabriel to deal with the pace that Spurs have got in their front line. But nonetheless, Per Mertesacker had a decent game, and one player that I feel we should highlight is Mathieu Debuchy. I thought he was very solid in the defensive department. Doesn't have the same effect going forward as someone like Hector Bellerin does. He hasn't got the best of pace, can't really make the same overlapping runs, but defensively, I thought he was very solid, putting a decent shift today, and at least he didn't have the kind of horrendous performances that we've seen from him so far this season. Campbell in front of him, thought he did an okay job tracking back, had an out-of-sorts performance in my opinion, was taken off at about the 70th minute mark, and he had one pop shot at the start of the second half, which I thought was relatively decent, but apart from that, not too much to stand out. But that was pretty much the story for the whole Arsenal team. No real player making a huge impact on the game. Everyone was very subtle in the way they played. Alexis Sanchez looked very off the boil in this game, and we didn't really rise to the occasion of the North London derby. You kind of sat there thinking at half-time when we're 1-0 down, like, do these players know what game they're playing in? Because they didn't really show that passion and aggression on the pitch, which really did come to my surprise. Spurs looked really up for this game, and that was portrayed from the opening minute, really. Both sides having a lot of half chances, but neither side really creating anything clear-cut. Not until Harry Kane got himself on the score sheet, of course, and it was very worrying how this goal occurred. I think it was Koscielny playing Kane on side, so he was kind of at fault for the goal, but it was just one simple ball over the top of our whole defence. Kane latches onto it, a very tidy finish past Petr Cech, but a very good goal for Harry Kane. 1-0 down, and it left us in a very difficult situation to try and bounce back from that point, because Spurs have a very resolute defence, and we were getting bullied at times in the midfield. Dele Alli, Dembele were having so much fun absolutely toying with Cazorla. Coquelin was really bailing Cazorla out at times, and Cazorla was taken off at half-time, given the hook, you could say, for Matthew Flamini. He didn't look up to scratch today, Cazorla. I don't know why that is. It wasn't a Cazorla-like performance, because when he comes up against huge players that are so vastly superior to him in terms of size, he seems to deal with them well. He seems to be wriggling out of those situations, and the Cazorla-Coquelin pivot has been so integral to this vain run of form that we've been on. But he really didn't have the best of games today. Flamini came on, and that just emphasises how threadbare and thin our squad is at the moment, that we have to resort to bringing on Matthew Flamini. You know, we haven't got someone like Wilshere or Ramsey to bring on at that point in the game. And Flamini did an okay job for the time that he was on the pitch. Nothing spectacular, but held his position well. At least he wasn't bombarding up the other end of the pitch as he seems so liable of doing, given his couple of goals against Spurs not so long ago. But it was good to see our defence and midfield really tighten up a little bit more after that point. But saying that, Spurs did have their fair share of chances. They could have scored about 2 or 3 more goals in this if they'd have been a bit more clinical. Petr Cech made some marvellous saves throughout the game, and we just looked very knackered, just very lackadaisical. We looked very tired in our approach. No real player trying to make a difference on the pitch, but thankfully we did get ourselves back into the game after Kieran Gibbs was brought on for Joel Campbell, and it's yet another assist for Mesut Ozil. I think that's 9 this season, and it's 6 assists in 6 games, which I believe is a Premier League record, and for Mesut Ozil to do it is absolutely phenomenal. But it was a lovely weighted ball in to Kieran Gibbs, and he made no mistake in fumbling the ball into the back of the net. It wasn't the prettiest of goals, but really did work well for us at the time, considering we needed to level the scores, and it would have been horrible to have lost this game. It really would have been horrible, because Spurs, I don't think they would have shut up about it. But I mean, both teams were value for the point, it has to be said. Spurs put in a very decent performance. Like I say, they're definite top 4 candidates in my eyes. And we've done well to get a point today, given the circumstances of having so many injured players out. I mean, let's not dwindle too much on this result, because in the grand scheme of things, when we've got these 4 winnable games coming up, hopefully we'll be in a different situation. If we can get a win against City, when all our squad is practically back pretty much, bar the likes of Wilshere, Welbeck, etc., hopefully we can take the game to them and get a win. But it has been a disappointing result on the day. I mean, I will reluctantly take the draw. Get your thoughts on the game in the comments box below. Please do like the video if you have enjoyed it. Subscribe to Arsenal Fan TV if you're new, and as always, we'll be speaking to you very soon.